Stay tuned for the Joan Quinn Profiles. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview, the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner, LA Style, and Detour magazines, Joan covered the social set, the Hollywood hotshots, the international art scene, the mysteries of food, the excitement of travel, and the fabulous world of fashion. Joan continues to find creative people on the cutting edge who make things happen. Here's Joan Agajanian Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. Waiting to be profiled are cooking instructor Anna Maria Volpi and artist Lies Kraal. Lisa's work is on the set today. Chef, cooking instructor, and teacher Anna Maria Volpi is also an author. She was born and raised in Rome. She didn't go to culinary school, but learned the trade in her family kitchen. You said your father was a big influence on you.
Yes, I used to like to cook during the weekend, and I was always looking what he was doing and try to remember. And it was amazing the way he was doing the kitchen. It was so nice because he really enjoyed to cook.
How did he learn to cook?
And basically, my father was a butcher.
Oh.
And he has a passion for cook. Actually, all my father's family, they had a passion for cook. And even in his shop, when people was going by, Santi, he was always say the recipe, what you should do.
Oh, how you should use the meat.
It was amazing. It was amazing. It was very nice social guys he liked.
So this was in Rome?
This was in Rome.
But he came from Florence?
No, my grandfather came to Rome from Florence.
Ah.
But my father born and grew up in Rome.
Oh, he did too, but he had the Florentine background of cooking?
Of course, also, yes, from Florence, and then, of course, from Rome. And then he met my mother from Sicily, and my family was a big competition between South food, Central Italy food.
What was it? What did Sicily bring to the table opposed to Florence?
Well, my father was so proud about food from Rome, from Florence, and my mother, she was trying to make him happy. But when my grandmother, she was come to visit us from Sicily, then she liked to do Sicilian food, and my father was not so much interesting about it because in Sicily they put a little sweet, sour. It's a little bit different between Roma.
That's what I was going to ask you. What sweet and sour? What would they use?
They like to put a little pinch of sugar sometimes, and then they use anchovy, capers, where they are salt. Basically, it's very, very good food. But they had different influence.
Is it more peasanty, like more of peasant food?
I'm sorry.
Peasant, like from the country.
Yeah, but like you mean paisan food?
Yes.
Well, not really, but they have a wonderful fish dish. Because, this is a big island, they have a wonderful fish. Many dishes, definitely, they are wonderful.
Well, we're talking about that. So, obviously, in Italy, all the different regions have different kind of food taste.
Yeah, we have a different influence. From north, you can have a wonderful risotto, and we have more pasta in Central Italy and South Italy. But basically, we do everything. Every region, we do everything. But
so is it the pasta versus risotto? Because I think America got pasta first, and then we started hearing about risotto.
When I do my cooking class, people don't know much about risotto, but we do a lot also. We have a lot of production of rice in North Italy. And
what do you mix in your risotto?
Well, basically, rice, you can make a risotto in many ways. I was doing just my cooking class risotto with strawberry, something like summer. I want to give a little flavor of summer, something unusual. And then I did also this week risotto with asparagus, with the fresh asparagus, delicious.
So you can just use risotto with anything you'd use with pasta?
You can make a risotto also with the wine, with many ways.
But could you use strawberries with pasta?
No, it was unusual. We had this kind of risotto in North Italy a long time ago.
Oh, you did?
The restaurant didn't want to give me the recipe, but I tried to figure out what it was. It was very nice.
What was there a secret ingredient?
Well, usually they are jealous to say the recipe, but when I was eating this risotto, I was trying to imagine what kind of ingredient they use. Basically, of course, there is a Parmigiano Reggiano, who is the most important cheese in Italy, and it was nice. I tried to. I don't know exactly if I did the same they did, but it was.
But you
very
liked it.
Nice.
What about say in northern? Do they use cream sauces or where does it?
In North Italy, probably they use more butter, a little bit cream than Central Italy. I remember in my family, we didn't use so much butter. Usually, basically, we use extra virgin olive oil, and even when we bake it sometimes, we did with olive oil, not with the butter.
Here, you brought an olive oil.
Yeah.
And what's the extra virgin?
Extra virgin olive oil is the free squeezed olive. And that's the most important thing. There is expiration about olive oil we have to be careful about.
So you like to use that?
Yeah, and it's important. It depends also what kind of olive oil you like. It change the taste. If you buy olive oil from South Italy, it's very strong, like olive oil we have in California.
Oh.
And each region we can feel different taste.
Is it like wine kind of? So wherever the olives grow?
It's also the season change. They make olive oil better or not. It depends on season.
Oh, it does?
It depends. Yeah, it depends on season.
One of the other things that you talked about was the Parmigiano Reggiano,
the Parmesan cheese.
Parmigiano
Reggiano, yes. Reggiano.
Okay,
yeah.
So and this is a piece.
Yeah, this is a piece. Yeah.
And is it all different? Is it old, young?
Yeah, that's important. Parmigiano Reggiano must be old, at least 20, 22 months, 24 months.
Can I shave this?
Oh, sure. Yeah, you can do from this side, so you shave it. We use a lot Parmigiano Reggiano, and we also like to eat Parmigiano Reggiano like this with a piece of focaccia bread, a glass of wine. It's just perfect.
And then what about the other thing? Because we have so many canned tomatoes. Do you use canned tomatoes or fresh tomatoes?
Well, usually I like to use a fresh vegetable all the time, and fresh tomato in summer, they are wonderful. I try to use only fresh one when they are in full season. A canned tomato usually we use when it's winter, when tomato is not supposed to.
But you were saying that the canned tomatoes, you can them, at your house, but we have to buy tins of canned tomatoes.
Yeah.
We don't do that.
Yeah.
Is it okay to use cans?
Yeah,
canned
it's
tomatoes?
fine. Usually, I don't know. I like to buy tomato imported from Italy because they are more sweet. It's
You mean of the canned tomatoes?
The canned tomato. I don't know why they come so sweet, so nice. Even though we have a lot tomato here, but.
So, tell me what you wrote this book, The Timeless Art of Italian Cuisine,
Yes.
Centuries of Scrumptious Dining by Anna Maria Volpi. Who helped you write that book?
My husband helped me a lot.
Because there's a lot of history in it, isn't
there is
there?
a lot of history helping me a lot, and actually come with me when I do cooking class because I'm so busy to take care of food, everything. I like to talk about the history. And
so along with the history, what would be a typical Italian dinner?
Well, a typical Italian dinner, we have a first course soup or pasta, and second course we have fish or meat with vegetable. And usually we have a fresh fruit.
Fresh fruit. Desserts aren't that?
No, really. Maybe once a week, dessert, yeah.
What is there a difference between, say, a typical Italian dinner or a Roman dinner?
Well, no, I can say the menu changes depend on season, because in Italy we have a 4 season. It's like to have soup in winter, and maybe we like to have in summer for the beginning and caprese, like mozzarella, and tomato, and basil. You know, we follow the season, definitely.
So it does. So Rome and Italian be the same.
Yeah,
you have a meat, a pasta, or a soup, and a meat or a fish. And you talked about all the fresh vegetables. Do you have this kind of fresh vegetable in your kitchen all the time?
All the time. We are lucky in California. We have everything all the time.
So let's talk about what's here.
This is sage. Yesterday we had the cooking class. I make a saltimbocca alla romana, or is a very thin wheel with one slice of prosciutto and one fresh leaves
of the sage.
Yes.
And this?
Then we have Italian parsley and basil.
Look at this basil.
Yeah.
These leaves are huge.
It's
Do you grow this?
Yeah, yes. We did the pesto also. We serve some bruschetta with the pesto. A fresh tomato we make also.
And these beautiful
pasta primavera with a lot of vegetable.
Carrots,
celery, zucchini. And
beautiful.
I bring artichoke with in Roma is very common to have carciofi alla romana. They are wonderful.
So it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And with that fresh vegetable, you made this pasta primavera.
Yes.
And it has, what's in this?
There is onion, there is celery, carrots, zucchini, Italian parsley, and of course Parmigiano Reggiano, good extravergine olive oil.
But not a red sauce on it.
No, it was a little bit tomato. We just peel and tomato, this kind of tomato.
Fresh
we just
tomato.
Peel and season it, that we chop inside. That's what we do.
Okay, and the other thing that we talked about was this platter of the
scaloppine with the sage, prosciutto, and green peas with prosciutto also.
So we needed a little piece of sage on this.
Sage on
okay.
Yes, sure.
And then we have peas and prosciutto.
With prosciutto and onion.
So have you ever worked in an Italian restaurant?
No, I never worked in the restaurant. I have no idea to work in a professional restaurant kitchen, but I like to teach. For me to cook is very relaxed moment. I enjoy. I don't like competition. I like just teaching.
I love this because the book really, parts of it tells the history.
Yes.
I read it last night. So this is the history, and then you get over here and you get a recipe. So it tells you what to get and then how to do it. Very simple.
It's very simple.
Very simple.
Yeah, it's very simple. I like people feel comfortable when they're in the kitchen. You have to enjoy what you do. It's something you create,
Well, we had a wonderful time with you, and thank you, and
much.
Thanks for teaching your kitchen pasta and your kitchen Italian food.
Thank you for inviting me, Joe. You're very kind.
Thanks, Anna Maria. Don't go away. We'll be right back with artist Lies Kraal. I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back to the Joan Quinn Profiles. Artist Lies Kraal was born and raised in Rotterdam, Holland. She's basically self-taught, even though she's taken lots of art courses. Lies is a monochrome painter. What does that mean?
Yes, it's a real charged word, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah, well, monochrome painting means one color. And why I like one color is because, I can create depth in it. And the way I use it is I put many layers of paint down and very thin, like watercolor. And so, I want it to look flat, and yet I want it to look deep. So you can really kind of fall into it.
There's a whole school of monochrome painters, isn't there?
Oh, yes. And Rothko and, many artists. Of course, Rothko didn't just do monochrome painting. But
contemporary painters, and that's the kind of thing people look at and they say, oh, I can do that.
Exactly.
Isn't it? I mean,
exactly.
Doesn't that
It's
just
so-
like ruffle your feathers?
No, it doesn't, because if one tries it, the simpler you get, the more difficult it becomes.
Right. I never
know.
realized that. And then when you talk about layers and layers, because I remember talking to Jimmy Hayward one time and putting a layer and then sanding it and then putting
Exactly.
another layer. What do
Exactly.
you do?
I use maybe about 100, like in this painting, for
This
example.
blue painting.
It's acrylic, and then I finish it with wax. And
Oh, that's where the shine comes
that's
from?
where the shine comes in. I buff it, and the powder is a powder that I purchased in Nepal, in Kathmandu, about 14 years ago, and it's many colors of paint, about 100 colors.
Do you put wax in between?
I put not wax in between, but I sand it in between,
Oh, you do?
and then I put another layer down, and I sand it.
Is it
however
on
many
wood?
times. It's on masonite.
It's on masonite.
Masonite, and then it's incised. There's a groove in there that's incised, and sometimes I raise
It
the
is
groove.
incised, so there's a little groove in there. How do you do that?
with a router
Before or after?
before.
Oh,
then
before.
and then I fill it into however attitude I want to give it.
Because it divides your canvas? Or
Well-
it divides your picture?
Well, not necessarily, but in this instance, yes. And sometimes do 3 lines or 2 lines, and like some reviewer called it speed bumps. Slowing down.
Oh,
to
so
view
when
the
you look at
painting.
it, yeah.
Or a horizon, like a landscape.
That's what I was
That's
thinking of
how
too.
I feel about it. Like on this piece here, there are 2 raised lines, which are like this, except they're not incised, but they're raised
They come out
out of
toward
the
us.
painting. Yes.
And this is a picture of a painting.
This is yes. A
And how
painting.
large is
the
this?
same size. I work in 2 sizes, primarily on my paintings: 23-inch square or 40-inch square.
Oh.
These are 23 inches.
And they all take the same format? Do you use a lot of different colors?
I use a lot of different colors.
Actually, I
like-
have some colors here.
Oh, you
Should we
do?
look at them?
Sure.
Let's look at
Uh,
this
and-
one goes this way.
Yes, and these are 3 panels. It's a triptych. They're 40 by 60 inches, and each panel is
And then
20
how do you
inches.
get this color? Because this is not a natural color.
No, I mix most of my own paints, and when I travel, I pick up pigments, like this pigment, for example, and it's what the Hindu
Hold it
women
to
wear
this. Oh, is that what it is?
on their foreheads. In India and in Nepal,
Let me see
Thailand.
So if you opened it, it's like
It's so
like powder?
It's powder, and it's so dense, and the color is so deep and it will fly all over, and it's really dangerous.
And then how do you mix it?
I mix it with a paint emulsion,
Oh.
like an acrylic paint
But would
emulsion.
no one else would think of using something that Hindu women use to make a spot?
I don't know, but why not?
Exactly, because it does leave a mark, doesn't it?
Yes, and all the deities, they painted on the deities. They put.
Oh, they
red on-
use that.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
this is
right.
it. It's called tikka,
Tikka.
and like in India, they have tikka chicken, but they don't. I don't see. they
And
use
it's
it.
red.
It is, and it says on here, do not touch on the skin, toxic.
But then they put it on
Exactly,
themselves.
exactly.
Oh.
So I thought it was okay.
So,
to use
so
that
this
paint.
is something that the color you mix yourself.
Totally mix myself.
And this one I'm going to show. Is this the right way?
Yes.
This is gold.
Well, it's sort of an earthy color. It's very much like your outfit, actually.
It
the
is.
color.
But you
Yeah.
don't, so, and I saw a gold painting like this. Do you
Yes.
actually use like a goldish pigment?
Yes, I use a gold pen. And it all comes in a powder form, like this gold does. And so if I mix it with my acrylic emulsion, then it sort of floats. Mm-hmm. It doesn't become dead.
So it's floating, but how do you keep putting so many layers on it then?
Well, I spray and I paint both. I use maybe a layer of spray, and then I use a layer of my brush, and just keep alternating it.
Oh,
to
you
make
use
it
brush?
also, yes, and I put it down on what do you call it? The acrylic medium that you lay down first.
Oh, I see, like the primer and
The
then
primer, yes.
I see.
Yes,
And then
I've been gone so long that I forgot my
you've
language.
been in India for 6 weeks.
I just got
you,
back.
Did you
Yes.
learn some special things?
Oh, it's amazing. India is really, really remarkable.
How will
It's-
that influence your work? Because this certainly doesn't look Indian to me, a blue painting or a green painting.
Oh, but this is Indian color.
It
It
is.
so deep in India. When you go to the Taj Mahal and you see the semi-precious stones
Oh,
you know,
right.
put into the marble, and the blue is so, reappearing in India. It's amazing.
We
It's
think
the
of
color.
pink and
Yes.
yellow
Yes,
and
and
bright
saffron.
greens and
Yes.
saffron, yeah.
Yes, but the blue
But
is
the blue-
very representative of India.
But
Yes.
did this come out of that trip?
No, it
No,
did
it
not. This
didn't,
is
but you-
last year's painting, but I have been to Nepal and to Thailand and Indonesia before, and so it has all the feeling of India, of Asia.
We started talking to you about being a self-taught artist. Did you always want to be an artist?
I always wanted to be an artist, and I've always been an artist in one respect or another.
When you were in Holland? were you-
Designing,
Oh, you.
architectural designer. I design buildings and houses and additions, and
You do.
so
The problem I think people have with one-color paintings is that we don't solve the problem. You solve the problem.
and the viewer, I
The
think-
viewer sees it, but we're not solving the problem like you are to get the like the ridge or the
Exactly.
external ridge. How does that come about?
Well, it's really part of life, of the landscape and of, how life functions. Life is not just, one smooth slab. And sometimes I do a smooth piece, but I like, having more variations in it.
Did you ever paint representational?
I started out, kind of abstractly representational.
Because you
And-
have to get to a point where you can do this,
exactly.
don't
That you
you?
know, yes, that you remove things and you just become more minimal, and you feel you can do more with less, and that's the idea that I like to arrive at.
That's something hard for me.
Yeah.
I'm always more is more.
I know,
But it's
I know.
difficult.
It is, and people think it's very easy to
That's-
be minimal, but I really like to.
You had a recent show at Suzanne
That was my
Vielmetter.
last solo show at Suzanne Vielmetter, and.
And do I have this? Is this the catalog?
No, this was
Oh, but
from a
this will
show at
show-
Claremont Graduate University. had a
I just
show.
wanted to show how your work is exhibited because you like it needs a kind of a darkish.
No, well, the shot looks darkish, but I like a minimal installation. And here on the wall, like one painting, this is a museum gallery at the university there, and like one painting on one wall. So you couldn't be more minimal than that. And
Like the way I see the way you're showing it.
yeah,
One of the things that you did was a show of reds.
yes, that
And
was
you
just.
is that the Suzanne
Yes, yes.
Vielmetter show? And the finishes are like this.
On most of them, but not all of them. Some of them are matte finish.
But what was so amazing to me, as you called it, a Porsche red, a Ferrari red, a Maserati red.
Well, it's all started from this red, from the tikka, because it's a Hindu, women wear that. And
the red
materi-
painting started from that?
Yes. And and I'm very much into cars, automobiles, and so the car in Los Angeles car culture, like Ferrari, and the Ferrari red is so very similar to what the Hindu women wear on their forehead. So I was thinking that they're so anti-materialism, and a Ferrari is one of the most expensive cars, and they're the same color, just almost identical.
And this is
The red.
very cheap to buy.
It is. It was there for sure. And so I went to Ferrari and I got a paint sample, and so I mixed the paint to match the Ferrari. And then I thought, well, I don't want to stop there. I'll go to Porsche and Lamborghini.
Is that how you got the colors?
And yes, I got from the factory colors, and then I mixed the paint myself to match the paint of the automobiles, and to deal with the non-materialistic view and then the materialistic view.
Fabulous.
the
But the
Hindu.
thing, did you also make your own paints to match those colors?
Totally.
You had
All
to do that?
Yeah, I had to mix more myself.
Are you
because-
dealing with toxic materials?
Well, I use acrylic, and so I converted into acrylic from enamel car
So you
paint
Uh-huh.
that I make it into acrylic, which is a water-based paint, and that's really safe.
Yeah.
The powder, once it gets emulsified into the
see.
acrylic emulsion, I think it's not toxic anymore. At least I hope not.
So, in the future, when you talk about your trip to India, do you see other influences? I mean, you've only been back a short time.
I
Do
know
you
I
see
need to digest
influences?
it yet still, and there's a lot to digest because I was there for a month and a week in Myanmar, which is Burma, and a week in Thailand before that.
Oh,
so
I see.
I was gone for 6 weeks, and
one of the major things that you did was this Chinati. This is a Donald Judd installation.
Yes, I had an artist residency there about 2 years ago, and I've always, of course, Donald Judd is one of my idols, and I was, wonderful to be there. And my bungalow
So
that they
minimal.
gave me, so minimal, and my bungalow was right in front of the building there. So every morning and night, noon, all the lights on it, I would see this installation of the 100 milled aluminum boxes. And then the ammunition buildings, and there's 48 in one and 52 in the other building. And there are 100 boxes, they're about 3 by 6 feet.
And tell us where Chinati is.
And Chinati is in Marfa, Texas. And so I took the southern view of the 100 boxes, and there's 13 variations in the view of it. And so in my show, the Red Show, I did these pieces on paper. And so I chose this handmade French paper because it's very rough, and I wanted the contrast of a very smooth, so I'll finish on the inside. So I laid many layers of paint down in the center there of the handmade paper, and then I scored the box view into it, all to scale to Donald Judd's boxes.
So the box is scaled within
Totally.
several layers of...
About 20 layers of paint, and the
on
final...
paper. 20 layers on paper.
Yes, and then the final layer is a like a car paint, because I want to resemble Donald Judd's aluminum
The
boxes.
shininess.
Yes.
Oh, they're beautiful,
Yes.
Lise.
Thank you so much. And it's scored with a knife into it, and you only get one chance. You do it with a knife.
That's right.
You go in, and you have to go. And if you don't make it, you have to redo the whole thing and put 20 more layers
How
of
long
paint
does it
down.
take to
This-
dry the paint?
This took me about 8 months to do the 13 of them.
It does?
Yeah.
But how long does it take for the paint to dry?
Well, it
each
depends
time?
on what the weather is outside. If it-
Days or hours? Or?
It takes a day to put a layer down at least. To
One
dry
of the,
it.
before we leave, I know you've gotten a lot of awards. You got the COLA Award, which was this
Last
great
year.
award from Los Angeles.
City of Los Angeles. Culture
for
Affairs
installation. So you do different things besides
Yes,
just
I
painting.
started installations about 1993, and they're all based on World War II.
Oh.
And so it's called the Not Them Project. It's an ongoing project. It's NAOTDAM, which means not afraid of the dark anymore.
That's fabulous.
And I was very afraid of the dark when I was growing up during the war.
Oh, because of the
in
war and when you
Rotterdam.
came in.
Yes, we were bombed, and so when we moved to our house after the bombing, and it was very scary
But it's taken you all this time.
to have it come,
Yeah.
to manifest out of me.
Well,
and
this
so,
is great.
Thank you. This show was all broken glass, and I put phosphorescent emulsion on it. It was a 23-foot piece at Barnsdale Park, and of all broken glass. And so you walked into the room, and the lights went on. Then I put a spring on the door, and then the door slowly closed behind you, and then the lights went off.
So then
and
you
the door
can't
sounded
be
like
afraid
that.
of the dark anymore.
Exactly. And the piece glowed in the dark
Oh, fabulous.
because of the phosphorescent emulsion.
Thank you. Thank you so
Joan.
much for being with us. And thanks for watching the Joan Quinn Profiles today. Keep writing to 777 South Figueroa, 44th floor, Los Angeles 90017. Bye.